Hi. Unless you've been living under a rock, in which case can I come and stay under your rock, you cannot fail to have noticed the current heatwave that we're having in the UK. Now, a heatwave can be really tough for people with long-term conditions, disabilities, chronic illnesses, mental health issues. The heatwave can really impact on what you've already got going on and just make it a lot worse, or make you feel a lot worse, can make you feel terrible. So today I'm going to talk about some tips that might help you keep cool and make you feel a little bit more comfortable as the heatwave continues to upset everybody. So the first and most obvious tip is to drink plenty of water. In a plastic-free environment now, it's better to have sort of reusable bottles and things, obviously, but any way you can get water into yourself is a really good idea. So here's some water. Make sure you're drinking plenty of water throughout the day, because as you're sweating, you're getting dehydrated. So you need to rehydrate. It's really important. It's important all the time, but it's especially important when it's this hot. So just make sure you're drinking lots of water. Full disclosure, drinking lots of water means you'll have to pee a lot more. You'll never be off the toilet, but at least you'll be hydrated, so keep drinking that water. Some people find it hard to drink water, they don't really like the taste of it, so you can drink things like diluted fruit juices, which personally I think is disgusting, but you can give that a go. You could eat ice cubes. I love eating ice cubes. That's really weird, but I love them. Squash you can have. Sorry, I'm just looking at my list of tips. The other thing that can be really good is eating cold food. So salads and fruit, especially fruits and salads that have a high water content, can also be a really good way of getting water into your body and just hydrating. And eating a salad on a really hot day can just really up your water intake. So that's another thing to do. Try to avoid caffeine, so tea and coffee, and really sugary drinks, because that can just really suck the moisture out of you. So try to avoid those in the heat. And everyone loves a cup of tea, but sometimes a cup of tea in the heat is going to be detrimental. So try to stick to cold drinks if you can. So devices and sort of gadgets that can help you keep cool. Obviously fans. There's all sorts of types of fans. I think people are struggling to get hold of them at the minute because everyone has rushed out and panic bought an electric fan. But if you can get a fan, they're a really good way to keep cool. If you run them from the electricity, from the plugs in your walls and your offices and things, obviously there is a cost implication there. I don't know exactly how much electricity a fan running all day would use. And obviously that may not be a good solution for people who perhaps don't have the money or can't sort of afford to run a fan for the entire day. If that's the case, maybe get one and just run it for a little while. So when you're hot, maybe just blast for 10 minutes and see how you get on. You can obviously buy mini battery operated fans. This is one my mum bought me. It's really loud. So this can be ideal for carrying around in your bag and just giving yourself a little blast with it whenever you're feeling a little bit hot. Battery operated, the batteries last quite a long time, and you can get batteries sort of relatively cheap, so this may be a really good cost-effective alternative for you. Other things that you can use are things like water sprays. I've got lots of these. This one's called Breath of Fresh Air, and this came from Lush. It smells kind of like being at the beach, at the seaside, not like salty and fishy, but sort of fresh. And this is brilliant. One spray on your skin and you feel instantly refreshed. So they're a really good thing to have around. And the Body Shop have also released a range. This is Rose Dewy Glow from the Body Shop. It smells like roses and raspberries. It smells beautiful. I've been keeping mine in the fridge just to make them extra cold, so I can just give myself a quick spray with them. I usually do it just before I'm going to work because I get very, very hot. Once I'm dressed and I've got my tights and my dress on, I get very, very hot. So keeping one of these in the fridge downstairs and giving myself a quick spray before I go to work has been quite helpful. So they come from the Body Shop. I think they're about £8, possibly less. Like, I honestly can't remember. I'm just throwing numbers at you. But they're really good and they smell really nice. I really recommend the coconut one because it's also quite calming. The smell makes you feel a lot calmer. So that's another really good option for you. The other thing you could get, which I'm finding really useful, are these cool pads. So this is like a squishy gel pad here. Mum got mine from the range. I think she said it was £7.99. Now, a lot of people I know buy these for their dogs and their cats and things to lie on, or the rabbits, because you don't need to refrigerate them. They supposedly keep cool, so that when you sort of touch them and lie on them, they do give you a coolness. The first time I used it, I found that, but now I'm finding that I am so hot that just the coolness on its own of this pad is not enough. So I've been keeping mine in the fridge. I've been pulling it out, and actually I've been sitting on it. So I've got a really cold bum, and just the coolness of the pad is just really helping to bring my body temperature down. So this has been really useful. I'm sure you can get them in lots of other places, but this particular one, it's about A4 size, and it sort of splits in half, so you can fold it in half easily. It's quite easy to pack away. It's quite easy to sort of fit into your fridge. And this one, as I say, came from the range and cost £7.99. So shout out to my mum for buying that for me. I've used it in bed a couple of times. It seems to get hot very quickly. So I think we are going to get another one so that I can swap and change between the two of them. But for £7.99, this is a really good method of just helping yourself stay that little bit cooler. If you've got lots of hair like me, there's a lot of it, that can make you really hot. Well, I've got so much hair that it is like wearing a woolly hat 365 days a year. My hair is really thick and there is a lot of it. I invested in, I don't know if you can see it, in an undercut a few months ago. Best decision of my life. The back of my neck is so cool now. It was partly to help me wash my hair easy, to get my hair tied up, to make it easier to brush it, just to keep it tidier, to take some of the bulk out. But also in the summer, having that bare neck and bare back of your head is just so nice. If you do have a lot of hair, and if you can tie your hair up, that can also really help to cool you down. Just getting your hair off your face and off the back of your neck can really help you stay there a little bit cooler in this weather. Clothing can be quite important too. Try to wear sort of loose layers. I know a lot of people are self-conscious about their arms for whatever reason. So if wearing short sleeves isn't for you, then try to get loose cotton shirts. So maybe wear a vest, a light tiny vest underneath. I keep touching my boobs. Wear a light vest underneath, and then you can wear the shirt over the top, so it's loose, it's open, you're still covering up your arms, but you're gonna stay that little bit cooler than you would if you were just wearing, say, a bog standard long sleeve top. So that's another thing you can try, loose layers. When it's really hot outside, it may be better to stay inside, so make sure you've got things like plenty of water, plenty of food. If you need medications, make sure you've got all them in the house, and just try to stay inside in the shade. If you do need to go out, make sure you put sun cream on. That's really important. You don't want to burn. Being sunburned and crazy hot are not a good mix. So if you are heading out of the house, make sure you've got some water with you, and maybe a fan if you've got one, and make sure that you've got sun cream on. It's really important to put sun cream on, especially on your face, everywhere. Cover your whole body in it, have a bath in it. Just make sure you've got sun cream on so that you don't get burnt. And try to stay in the shade as much as possible. And if you do need to leave the house, try to do it sort of earlier in the morning or sort of mid-afternoon, sort of late afternoon. So try and stay out of the sun between sort of 11 and 3. Those tend to be the hottest parts of the day. So if you can get out before that or after that, that can also really help just to keep you cool. So what do you do if you're already hot? If you're already sweating, you're already really hot, you can't cool down. There are lots of different things you can try that don't involve buying a gadget or anything. So things you can do are run your wrists under cold water. That can bring your body temperature down. You can sprinkle water onto the back of your neck or inside your clothes. That can also cool you down. If you are feeling really hot, try and get somewhere cool. Maybe just take 5 minutes to go in, breathe, and just be somewhere where there might be a draft, maybe near an open window on sort of a non-sunny side of the building. That can just sort of help you a little bit. Or you can make a paper fan. When you were children, you used to make paper fans. You can make one of those, fan yourself with it, and it's not brilliant, but it will cool you down in that moment. So that's another thing to try. As far as offices and your house goes, other ways to keep your environment colder are sort of turning the lights off. If you have lights on in your office and you can turn them off, it's a really good idea to turn the lights off. It really makes a difference to the temperature in the room. The same as if you're at home. If you can turn lights off, if you can turn electrical equipment, so things that you're not using, if you can turn them off, because they all generate heat and help to make that room like a hot box. So if you can turn off electrical equipment and turn off the lights, then do so, because that can really make a difference to the room that you're in. Sleeping and going to bed in this heat can be a real nightmare. My husband gives off the heat of 1,000 suns, so lying next to him at night is almost unbearable. The heat that radiates from him, it's like lying next to Mars. It's ridiculous. So for me, staying cool at night is a real nightmare. I tend to wear sort of cropped tops to bed, just to, well, less things you wear to bed the better. I don't like to be naked in bed. A lot of people don't, so if you can wear sort of shorts and small t-shirts, that can help to keep you cool. Try not to sleep under the covers. Now I know that is a real danger if you're not completely covered up, or if you have your feet out of the covers. There is a real danger that the monster under the bed may get you. I would say in this heat that is a risk you can take, because the monster is also really hot, and underbed monsters tend not to like the heat. So if it is really hot, they're going to be quite dormant. So don't worry too much about the underbed monsters in the heat. Pull those covers back, get yourself cool. The monster is on vacation. You can have windows open a little bit at night to keep the air circulating, to let cold, if there is any cold air, to let cold air flow into the room. That can be really helpful too. If you wake up in the night really hot, again, it's a good idea to just go and run your wrists under some cold water, sprinkle a bit of water on yourself, maybe wash your face with cold water. I know that has the danger of waking you up a bit, but it will cool you down. It's important to remember that a lot of medications can affect your body temperature. So a lot of people may be struggling more in this heat. I certainly am. A lot of my medications and some of the conditions I have really mess with my body temperature anyway. It can be the middle of winter and the sweat will be pouring off of me. It's always been a running joke that I'm sat everywhere fanning myself because I'm so hot. So the summer can be an unbearable time for me. I love the sunshine, it's really lovely. People are so much happier when it's sunny, and that's really nice. But actually for some people it can be a really difficult time. For the body conscious, it can be difficult because we don't want to be taking our clothes off and having everybody look at us and judge us because for whatever reason. So we tend to still keep covered up and we suffer. It's at a detriment to our own health. And I know that we're trying to fight our own demons when it comes to that. So a top tip for everybody is don't point out other people's flaws. If you notice somebody has scars on their arms or maybe a bad skin problem and they're wearing short sleeves, they just want to be cool and not get overheated. So you pointing out one of those flaws to them will make them feel self-conscious and they might cover up and risk their own health. So don't mention it. I saw something on Twitter yesterday. If it can't be fixed in 10 seconds, don't point it out to them. Things like food on the face or lipstick on your teeth, that is something that can be fixed in 10 seconds. So yeah, mention that to somebody, because actually it's embarrassing for them to find out that they've had food on their face all day and nobody's told them. You can fix that in 10 seconds, tell them. Things like scars on your arm or greasy hair or bad skin or a flaky scalp, that can't be fixed in 10 seconds. Don't point it out to people. Don't make people feel worse than they already do in this heat. I think that's a really important tip for everybody. As I said at the start of this vlog, the heat can make it a lot harder for people with disabilities and multiple conditions, chronic illnesses, long-term conditions, mental health issues. The heat can really impact on how we're doing. Personally, I'm really struggling at the moment in this heat. I don't control my own body temperature well anyway, so I get hot and I just cannot cool down. My tips work sometimes. They're not all of the tips will work for every person, and I'm finding that a combination of everything is helping me feel a little bit more comfortable. My medications, side effects of them, sort of nausea and sickness and tiredness, are all sort of 100% worse in the heat. I can barely keep my eyes open at the moment, and that's a combination of how hot it is, how tired I am because I'm not sleeping because of how hot it is, and my pills are also making me tired. So I'm really struggling in the heat at the moment. So I've made this vlog with some of my tips and some of the ways I've been keeping cool in the hopes that it will help somebody else. Another important thing to remember just before I forget is check the side effects on your medications, because a lot of them can make you more susceptible to burning and sort of can affect how the sun and UV hits you. So check the medication side effects before you leave the house and cover up as need to. A lot of antibiotics and sort of creams, steroid creams, can make you a lot more susceptible to the sunlight and can make you burn a lot more easily. So just give all your medications a good double check so that you know what you're doing in the heat, and that's really important. So those are my tips for keeping cool. If you've got any other tips or anything you do to keep cool, drop me a comment below, let me know. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up. If you've got any questions, let me know below. As always, you can subscribe and hit the notifications to get notified when a new exciting vlog comes up. And as always, don't forget to head over to www.estellosaurus.co.uk for all my latest blog posts. I hope you found this vlog helpful, and I hope you managed to stay comfortable and cool in this heat. I'll see you soon. Bye!